Hello friends, welcome to data making. Last section we saw a Python simulator or event simulator which is generating the server status events. Okay, so we simulated that data. Okay, so we published the data into the Kafka topic. So we assume that, or we think of as that simulator is sitting on the every server on the data center. Okay, and it is going to generate the server events, server status every 1 second to the Kafka topic. Okay, so now we come to the module which is the core of this project, which is a streaming data pipeline using a Spark. So we are going to use the Spark structure streaming. Okay, so and we are going to consume the data from the Kafka topic, and we are going to do a lot of pre-processing and doing transformation, and then aggregated data, get the aggregated data and save it to the PostgreSQL. So that's what we are going to do. So this module, or in this video, I am going to explain you the data pipeline using a Scala programming language. In the next section or next video, I am going to explain you same streaming data pipeline, how to develop using PySpark. Okay, let's get started, friends. So I'm using a IntelliJ IDE. Okay, it is a development environment for writing a Scala code uh, for Spark. Okay, so this is the project I built it. Let me open this. If you are actually not set up this IDE, please refer the previous section to how to set up the IntelliJ IDE for Spark project, Scala SPT based Scala project. It is getting open, so it will take couple of seconds to launch it. Let's wait for it. Meanwhile, we'll actually go and check. I'll show you. This is the last class we saw this program, right? Data center server live status simulator. In this, when we build this streaming data pipeline to test it, we are going to actually run this program, okay, and publish some data to the Kafka topic, and so that this our streaming pipeline will consume the data and do the transformation and aggregation. We are going to use that, so that's why I told you. Okay, so this will be okay. Let's get loaded. I'm using a little bit low-end machine, which is um, 8 GB RAM laptop. It's a little slow. Okay, so the project is open. This is the project structure. Okay, so you have this is a project folder, the project structure, and you'll have SRC folder where you write your code. So we are writing a Scala, so you just create a Scala object class. Okay, so a Scala object class is nothing but a singleton object. So basically, you can without creating an object for class. Basically, when you create a class, you want to call the property methods from the class or access the properties from the class. You need to create an object, right? But if you create a Scala object class, so you need to create it, you can directly access the class. That's the use of the Scala object class. So I created a object class called streaming data pipeline dot Scala. Okay, and you see there is a file called build.spt. Okay, build.spt. This is an important file where you specify dependencies. Say example, in the what we are doing, we are actually building a streaming pipeline. Okay, which is going to consume the data from the Kafka topic. Okay, and it is going to write the data into the sink, which is a target. Okay, Postgres. So we need a connectors. We need a connectors to talk to the Kafka topic, means Kafka broker, and we need a connector to talk to the PostgreSQL, which is a JDBC connector. All these dependencies we need to specify in this build.spt. Okay, so what content this will have? Basically, name of this project and version. You can change as per your wish. And what is the Scala version I'm using? I'm using a Scala version 2.12.12. Okay, what are the dependencies I'm specifying? So you can specify your dependency. Basically, this is nothing but a group, okay, and artifact, and then a version. Okay, when you specify library dependencies, you need to say plus equal to, you specify in this format. Okay, so I'm using a, Spark version 3.0.1, so that's a version I specified, and this is the artifact ID, and this is the group ID. Okay, this is for entire Spark SQL, means Spark all the libraries, and this is the library dependencies for Spark Kafka connector. For Spark Kafka connector, we needed two important dependencies. One is it is repeated here. Ignore it. So basically, one is basically Spark SQL Kafka. This is the one important the repository information you need to provide the artifact. Excuse me. Artifact ID, group ID, version you need to specify, and another one is for Kafka client. Okay, so this is one important. And for streaming, Spark streaming with the Kafka, this is assembly dependency you need to provide. I just copy pasted twice, so you can ignore this. And so this is the fourth one, which is important, which is a Postgres, a JDBC connector. Okay, so these are the things which is very very important. Okay, so that this program will work, the data pipeline will work. Okay, with this dependency only it can talk to the source and destination. Okay, I hope this file is understood. Okay, now we'll go to the important. Okay, so the streaming data pipeline. Okay, again this is the package name I am defining for our data pipeline, com.datamaking. Okay, you can give whatever the name you want to give, and I'm importing the standard libraries. Okay, this is for properties. I will tell you where this is used, and Spark session object and Spark data frame object. Okay, data frame class and Spark session class. From the Spark SQL we need to import it, and import the functions. Okay, all the functions. So underscore is nothing but all the functions under the functions package. That's what. Okay, and trigger is the class I'm importing. Just set the batch interval, and this is the line of code which imports all the types from the Spark SQL. Okay, so it is a very important package we need to import it. Okay, so if you want actually to understand more about Spark internals and the basic stuff of Spark, please go through my channel. I have a lot of information on Spark. Okay, my channel name is Data Making YouTube channel. You can go and verify a lot of Spark information available here. Okay, so this this project module or this course is entirely meant for building a how to build a data pipeline. So that's why I am actually focusing on only this. Okay, so for Spark basics and other stuff you can refer there. Now coming back to this, so once import all these libraries packages. Okay, now we are writing this Scala object class, so it is going to consider this main method. So inside this main method only we are going to write all the code. Okay, so basically so that so when you run this Scala object, the default main method will be called. Okay, and it will run our data pipeline. Okay, so here I'm printing just a message, and I'm going to capture all the details. So basically we are going to consume from the Kafka broker, right? So we need a Kafka topic name, we need a bootstrap server, which is nothing but a broker IP address and port number, which is 9092 is a port number, default port number. So this is the IP address. Okay, this is the IP address of our Docker environment where our Kafka is installed. Okay, so we are running a Kafka broker as a container, right? So in Windows, whenever you install it on Windows, this is the default IP address you get it in the Windows. This IP address we are using. So if you are using a remote Kafka broker, you can very well use it unless you have access to it, and you can change the IP address and port number accordingly. Now next part is Postgres. So this is the target. This is the target where we are going to write it. Okay. So we wrote this database. We are going to write this all the Postgres aggregated data into PostgreSQL. So what are the information you needed? That's we need to capture here. So basically host name, port number. Again, this is the Postgres is running as a container. So this is the IP address of that container. And the port number, the default port number is 5432. These are the user ID password for my Postgres SQL database. And this is the database name, event underscore message underscore DB. And this is the Postgres JDBC driver we need to use. Okay, org.postgres.driver. Okay. Now we coming to the initial importance place. So which is basically you need to create a Spark session object. So Spark session object is the one which can talk to the Spark cluster and execute our code. Okay, this program is basically a driver program which has to be converted into a logical plan and then optimized a physical plan, and it has to run it on the Hadoop cluster. Okay, so Spark session object which help us to run our code on the Spark cluster. So we need to create a Spark session object. You need to pass a master URL, which is nothing but your Spark master node. If you are running on, so basically Spark can be run on different modes. Okay, so basically we can use different masters. So one is a local, which I'm for running in our IDE. I'm using a local. So when you run it on cluster, it can be either the cluster managers. We call it as cluster manager. This master property is called cluster manager. Whether you can run it on yarn mode, which is nothing but you're going to make use of yarn cluster manager to run our jobs, or you can use standalone cluster manager, which is Spark colon IP address of your Spark master and colon 7077 is the standalone cluster manager. And if you are using Mesos like cluster manager, you can specify that as well. And this is the application name you need to specify, and then call this method called create getter create, which will give you the Spark session object here. Once the Spark session object is available, so you just set this Spark Hadoop user property as Hadoop. This is a username I'm using in my Spark cluster, so I'm just setting up. And the context log level, error log level, sorry, log level, Apache log level. You just want to see the info log or error log, you can just set the log level. Once it is set, so this is the one of the main part of this program. So what we are doing is Spark session object dot read stream. So because this is structure streaming, so we are going to read the streaming, read the data from Kafka topic as a stream. Okay, that's why you say Spark dot read stream of what is the source. It's a Kafka, and how do you access it? You need to provide this boost of server topic name, which is a property subscribe, and starting offset. Whether you want to fetch all the latest data or starting from earliest data, you can provide that property as well. So and then use the load method to read the data from Kafka topic as a stream. Okay, so this part of code will give you the data frame, which is stream data frame, which is an unbounded data frame, you can say. So every time the data comes on specific time interval, the data will be stored on this data frame, stream data frame. Okay, so if you want to see the structure of data frame, I'm just saying data frame dot print schema, which will show you the schema of the data frame. Okay, then now, okay, so we know what is the structure of our JSON message which is coming in Kafka topic. So we saw in the producer program, right, which is simulator. So what is the structure of our message? So starting from event ID, and you have a server status which has both the color code as well as the severity level of this status, and event timestamp, and server type, country code, country name, city name, and resolution time, estimated resolution time, and the other properties which currently it is not having any data, but these are the properties will be used for future purpose. And we need to define a schema for it, because the data is coming in structure, right? Structure. So with the same structure, if you want to read it, we need to define a schema for that message. So that's what we are doing. If you want to build a schema for your message, you need to use the struct object, and which will have array of struct fields. So each field refers to the one field in your message. Okay, so struct type, which will have array of struct fields. The first field is event ID, the server status of color code and severity level. Similarly, all this. So data type, you can use string type, you can use integer type because the solution time is integer number I'm sending it, and other stuff for like string type only. So once this schema is defined, now we can go and actually we can just start doing the processing or pre-processing on this stream data frame. Okay, so what we are doing is, so we are going to actually so if you look at the schema, what all the schema will come? Basically, it will have a key because once you consume from the Kafka, so the main data frame. So when you run, I will show you. This will have this key value, topic name, and all the information. Other columns also in the data frame will have. The important thing is the value column, which will have our entire message. So we convert that value message into string as a will convert it to string. Okay, because we are going to parse the string. So once it is casted as a value field is string, which will have a new data frame, and from the data frame, so we know Spark is like lazy evaluation, and we can build a chain of transformation to do our processing. So here I'm using the select operator or select method, which is a transformation. So again, one more transformation we are doing against select. So value field we got it right. This is a string message. So we want to convert into JSON object, okay, and then from that we actually convert that entire message into multiple columns, message field into multiple columns. So first you convert string type into as a JSON structure, which is nothing but a struct type in our the Spark SQL data type. Okay, struct type. So once this is there, and you need to pass schema, right? So basically, you provide this, you get JSON, right? So you convert string into JSON, and you need to parse that JSON. We need to provide the schema, so which we defined in the previous step. And yeah, I'm actually giving this column name. So the value column, we parse the data, and I'm calling that JSON object or struct type column as event message detail. I'm giving a new name actually for that. Then I'm selecting only that column. Okay, so this data frame will have this column name called event message detail, which will have struct type. Okay, so if you want to make the struct type, what is the struct type? Which will have list of fields. Okay, in one cell or in one row, one cell value will have the one message information, all the fields in that particular cell. If you want to make it as multiple columns, struct type fields into multiple columns, you can use the dot operator. So dot operator dot the event message, this is a column name, event message details dot star, which will actually convert into multiple columns. So this data frame will have. So I will show you this data frame structure also, and then once that is done, so we'll be having all the columns. So now we did some pre-processing, means we parse the data. Now we want to do some again few more transformation or processing. What we need to do is basically we have a field called event server status, color name and severity level, right? So both color code and severity level is in the same field. So basically the first part will be your color code, and the second part will be the severity level. So we want to break that. So how do you break it? You can use the split function, pass this column, and get item of first position, right? So your first position will be, okay. So in this yeah, so in this we get here actually it should be 1. Okay, so here what we need to do is first position will be your color code, and second position will be your severity level. Okay, so when you split the column, it will have value like I showed you in the previous programs. So it will have like say example green as a color code, and pipe separated by severity level, severity. 1, 2 like that. It will be, so we need to split, and we need to take this color name and as one column, and the severity level as 2 columns. That's why we are doing the split. Okay, and we are actually putting this message count as counter value 1. Why I need it? We want to do subrogation. So if example, if you want to find out on particular severity level, how many messages is come. Just to make the aggregation easier, we just introducing the counter, right? So just one. Okay, we making for easy purpose. So we're making this counter as one, and we are getting. So now the data frame will have these columns, extra columns, color name, the status color code, and the severity level, and the message count. Okay, now we want to write this data, which is raw data, almost pre-processed raw data, I can call it as. So into our storage layer. For now, I am writing into HDFS. When you run this program, it is in local storage. I will be writing into my local storage particular location. When you run it on cluster, we can change it to HDFS location. And so this is the data frame, right? And you have to say write stream of what is the batch interval. So every 30 seconds, I'm going to write this data in a JSON format and location and checkpoint location. So basically, checkpoint is nothing but checkpoint location is nothing but, say example, your application is failed, okay, some due to some reason. So when you want to restart, you want to restart from the specific state where it has failed. So that is to make the status available, the previous state is available. You need to use this checkpointing, okay, and start. So this will start writing your data into local storage, okay, and then what we are going to do is, so we are going to select the whatever the columns we needed for next level of processing. Okay, so country code, country name, city, and color code, severity level, resolution time, message count. So I'm going to generate the two important metric here. One is the like grouping of country name, city name, and severity level, and color code, and find out the total messages and also total resolution time. These are the two metric I'm generating. So we can do a lot of stuff here, but to make it simple and to understand for all the people, I'm making simple this, so that you can do a lot of changes to this program and data pipeline. You can just build other stuff. So once this is done, this data frame, this aggregated data frame will have the aggregated event details. Okay. So now we are going to write this data into Postgres. So for that, what we need? We need a Postgres JDBC URL. The format will be JDBC colon Postgres colon slash hostname colon port number slash database name. Okay. And you need to set the properties. Okay. So basically database details, username, password, the URL, JDBC URL, and driver name. Then we can use this and write the data into uh, Postgres SQL. How do you write it? Basically, for writing the data into from the sparse structure streaming data into RDBMS, specifically for being a SQL Server or MySQL or Postgres, there is no out-of-box APIs available. So what we need to do is we need to say data frame dot write stream and set the batch interval and the output mode as update. There are multiple output modes available, like update, append, and complete. So update is nothing but both the new data with and updated data. Uh, so we are going to use this function operator called for each batch. Okay, so what it do is in this stream data frame, we are going to iterate each batch. Okay, stream will have set of micro batches, right? So each batch we are going to iterate it and take that data frame and write the data frame. Like when you use for each batch, it will give list of data frames, micro batch data frame, and particular that data frame you can use the this will become normal our Spark data frame. You can use our JDBC data source API to write into Postgres. So this data frame dot write dot this append mode is basically writing into database table, and use the JDBC function, pass this JDBC URL, table name, and database properties, which will write into Postgres database. And then to debug purpose, I am writing into our console also, writing into the target as well as in the console for debugging purpose. How do you write it into console? Again, use the data frame, whatever the data frame I'm writing into both local storage SCFS or local storage, and also I'm writing aggregate data into Postgres, right? Both data frame I want to show it in a console for the debugging purpose. So this is the data frame, which is the pre-processed raw data. So data frame dot write stream of batch interval, the output mode is update, and I'm just showing the truncate file so that it will show you the column without wrapping it. And the mode is the console mode, and start it. Okay, similarly the aggregate data frame also I'm writing into console. And then finally you need to say this write stream into dot wait termination. So this is going to be a running a 24 hour 7 pro job. So because every time because the data is going to come different data centers, right, the service data, so it is going to be run heavily. So we will keep it as a long running process job. Basically all these streaming jobs are 24 bar 7 job type. Let keep running. Okay, so I am going to run this. Okay, hold it for a second. So I'm going to run this program, and also before that I will sorry, I will publish some data. Okay, so this is the our simulator Python data. So let me run this. Okay, and also I will run this program here. Okay, so let's get this get started, and also I will log on to the Postgres table and will show you the data also. So this is the Postgres container, right? So take the container ID, log on to that. You can say Docker exe interactive mode, view the container name, and bash. So it is going to open that container. Meanwhile, check this job is started. See, I generated only 10 messages. Let me publish some more also. And it's still launching because I'm writing a lot of things, both Docker containers and IDEs. My system is little slow. I apologize for that. So let's see here. I set the batch interval as 20 seconds. So I want to show you the scheme of the initial data frame, right? So it has a key value on topic as one column name, partition, offset, timestamp. These are the initial data frame schema, and this is the data frame which is after parsing your message. This is the data frame schema. Still the second batch has to come. I'll publish some more data. Let me check this is launched. Yes, this is launched in Postgres. You can use PSQL and username as demo user. Okay. The database which we are going to connect is event message db. Okay, I think next batch of data has come. So see, this is the raw data. Okay, and after aggregation, okay, this is aggregated data. Right? That is the event count. Even message count is there. Okay, so this is where you see this is sorry, this is aggregated data, and this has only the city, country, country code, and country name, and the city name. So the data has come from USA, uh, Brazil, Switzerland, and Finland. These are the severity level and other stuff. So let's go and check. Same data is written into the table. So let me show you table names. This is the table name. Okay, so this is the data is getting written here. Okay, so it is lot of data. Okay, so I hope this video is uh, so what we did is we actually published the data into Kafka topic, and we developed this streaming pipeline to consume the data from the Kafka topic and do aggregation, and we return the data into the target, which is the Postgres. I hope this video is helpful. Let's see in the next section.